Bob Marley was more than just a musician. He was a global icon, a revolutionary spirit whose music and message transcended boundaries, race, and time. From his humble beginnings in Jamaica, Marley rose to international fame with a sound that blended reggae, rock, and soul, carrying the themes of freedom, peace, and unity. His songs didn't just make people dance. They made them think, feel, and act. Marley's lyrics became anthems for social justice, love, and equality. Songs like One Love, Redemption Song, and No Woman, No Cry carried messages that resonated not only with the oppressed, but also with anyone who believed in the power of love to heal the world. His voice, both powerful and soulful, became a symbol for movements fighting for freedom and equality. When Bob Marley passed away in 1981, the world didn't just mourn a musician, it mourned the loss of a visionary whose influence continues to inspire and shape the hearts of millions around the world. Marley didn't just leave a legacy of music, he left a legacy of love, strength, and revolution. Bob Marley was born on February 6, 1945 in 9 Mile, a small village in the hills of Jamaica. Raised in poverty by his mother, Cedella Booker, Marley's early life was marked by the harsh realities of the rural Jamaican lifestyle. His father, Norval Sinclair Marley, was a white British naval officer, and his mixed-race heritage made him a target of racial prejudice, which influenced much of his later work. Music became Marley's escape and his way to process the world around him. He found his voice in the vibrant music scene of Kingston, where he formed the group The Wailers in 1963. The band blended traditional Jamaican ska and rocksteady with influences from soul, blues, and R&B, creating a unique sound that would later become known as reggae. Marley's music was deeply spiritual and political. Drawing from the teachings of Rastafarianism, he began to incorporate themes of unity, freedom, and resistance to oppression into his lyrics. His rise to fame in the early 1970s was fueled not only by his powerful music, but by his ability to speak to the struggles of the oppressed, particularly in the context of post-colonial Jamaica. Marley's messages of empowerment and solidarity became the foundation of his legacy. Bob Marley's rise to global fame was as organic as his music. By the early 1970s, Marley and his band, The Wailers, had become the face of reggae, blending spirituality, rebellion, and melancholy in a way that struck a chord with audiences everywhere. But it was his 1974 album, Natty Dread, and the global hit, No Woman, No Cry, that truly launched him to superstardom. With its anthem-like quality and themes of resilience, the song resonated with both Jamaican audiences and people around the world who felt the sting of injustice. As Marley's music spread, his message began to be heard not only in Jamaica, but also in the streets of London, New York, and beyond. He wasn't just a musician, he became a symbol of resistance, freedom, and unity. In 1975, Marley signed with Island Records, and his global reach expanded exponentially. Albums like Rastaman Vibration, 1976, and Exodus, 1977, solidified his place in music history. The song One Love, with its simple yet powerful message of unity, became an international hit, not only for its infectious rhythm, but for its timeless message of peace. The world was listening. Bob Marley wasn't just the king of reggae. He was now a voice for the voiceless. His success was not just musical, it was political. Marley used his platform to speak on behalf of the oppressed, his lyrics becoming a voice for the struggles of the Jamaican poor, but also for the disenfranchised and marginalized worldwide. Get Up, Stand Up, an anthem of empowerment, became a rallying cry for those fighting for justice. But the more Marley achieved, the more he became a target. His music was controversial, and his message about peace and unity was seen as a challenge to the political systems in power. Despite threats, Marley continued his fight for change. In 1978, he even mediated peace talks between political factions in Jamaica, showing his commitment to not just singing about change, but actively creating it. By the time of his 1979 album, Survival, Marley had become more than a musician. He was a revolutionary whose voice resonated in movements for social change, racial equality, and freedom. The cost of Bob Marley's meteoric rise was more than just the sacrifices that come with fame. It was the heavy toll it took on his personal life, his health, and ultimately his spirit. As he grew more famous, the challenges became greater, and the price he paid for his success grew steeper. The first cost was his health. In 1977, Marley was diagnosed with cancer in his toe, a condition that would eventually spread to other parts of his body. However, Marley refused to accept the diagnosis, continuing his hectic touring schedule and working on new music despite his illness. His refusal to slow down, driven by his commitment to his message and his passion for his music, took a toll on his body. Despite the worsening condition, Marley continued to perform with the same vigor he had before his diagnosis, unwilling to let his physical weakness stand in the way of his mission. The second cost was personal relationships. Marley's commitment to his music and his activism left little room for a conventional family life. Though he had several children from different relationships, including his beloved wife Rita, his constant touring and political activism strained his personal relationships. His travels often kept him away from his family, leaving them to shoulder the burden of his absence. Marley's relationships with his partners and children were often difficult, and the toll of his work left emotional scars on those closest to him. The third cost was the emotional toll of his mission. Bob Marley's music was never just about creating beautiful melodies. It was a mission to bring about change in the world. This idealism came with immense emotional weight. As Marley became more of a political figure, he received increasing threats from both political groups and those who felt threatened by his influence. His personal life became intertwined with his public persona. Marley carried the struggles of the oppressed and the marginalized on his shoulders, and the emotional toll was often overwhelming. Despite his seemingly unshakable spirit, his fight for equality, justice, and freedom weighed heavily on his mental health. The fourth cost was his own peace of mind. Marley's constant battle against the establishment, coupled with the weight of his illness, meant that even in his moments of joy and success, there was a constant feeling of unrest. His desire to see a better world often led to frustrations when progress was slow, and the pressure to be a voice for change left him emotionally drained. He once said, "The people who were trying to make this world worse are not taking the day off. Why should I?" That relentless drive, while admirable, came at a great cost to his peace and inner tranquility. Bob Marley's legacy extends far beyond the music he created. His influence reaches into the very soul of the world, shaping movements for freedom, equality, and justice. His songs were more than just anthems. They were calls to action, a reflection of the fight for social change that resonates even today. First, his musical legacy is undeniable. Marley's music became a universal language, transcending boundaries of race, nationality, and class. Songs like One Love, Redemption Song, and Get Up Stand Up are more than just lyrics set to music. They are declarations of unity, empowerment, and hope. Marley used his platform to speak directly to the oppressed, giving them a voice and a sense of identity. His message was simple yet profound. Together, we can change the world. This message still reverberates in the hearts of those who listen to his music. Marley's reggae rhythms and soulful melodies provided a soundtrack to the global movement for justice, and his songs remain timeless anthems of resistance. Second, Marley's cultural legacy transcended his musical contributions. He was a symbol of resistance, using his fame to speak out on issues of social inequality and racial injustice. His music, along with his public activism, created a movement that went beyond Jamaica and extended across the world. Marley's spirituality, influenced by Rastafarianism, was a guiding force in his life and art, offering a message of peace and love that helped to unite people across the globe. Finally, his personal legacy is one of inspiration. Marley's ability to maintain his idealism and integrity in the face of adversity is a legacy in itself. He taught us that even when the world feels unjust, we have the power to stand up and make a difference. His music continues to inspire activists, artists, and dreamers, reminding them of the power of unity and love in the fight for a better world. Bob Marley's story didn't end with his passing in 1981. His legacy is alive in every note of his music, in the ongoing fights for freedom and equality, and in the hearts of millions who carry his message forward. Marley's music became more than a soundtrack. It became a movement, a call for love, justice, and resilience. His legacy didn't just shape reggae music, it shaped generations of people who continue to believe that change is possible and that we can build a better world together. Through his songs, Marley left behind a message of unity, reminding us that we are all connected and that our strength lies in standing together. His voice, even in death, continues to inspire and uplift. Whether you're listening to Buffalo Soldier, No Woman, No Cry, or Could You Be Loved, Marley's spirit lives on in the rhythm of those words, the power of his beliefs, and the hope he instilled in those who dared to dream. Bob Marley may have left the world too soon, but his legacy of love and change remains timeless and unyielding.